Hello and welcome back to Stop and Go F1 for this, our reactions to sprint qualifying for our final sprint race weekend of 2024 in Qatar. So, before we get into it, remember to like and subscribe, of course, and a huge shout out to our members, Dakota, The Joyous James, Robin Myers, and Cinnamon Strudel. Let's get into this, because after FP1, it looked like very much a two-horse race between our Constructors Championship protagonists, McLaren and Ferrari. I think it was Leclerc in P1, then you had the two McLarens second and third, then Sainz in fourth. So the four drivers from Ferrari and McLaren making up the top four places going into SQ1. Before that, though, Sky Sports F1 had a very important segment they had to air on the incident between Max Verstappen and Lando Norris from the US GP, which was 6 whole weeks ago. We've had 3 different race weekends since that happened. They're still talking about it, and they wonder why people say that they don't like Max Verstappen. It's been 40 days. Move on. Right, SQ1, everybody. And one of the stars of qualifying today was Valtteri Bottas. We know the Stake F1 Team Kick Sauber car is dreadful, but somehow this weekend he seems to be getting something out of it. Not, fantastic stuff, but still really, really good stuff from Valtteri Bottas. With 5 minutes to go in SQ1, he puts it in P4. He was very quick through the one practice session as well. George Russell sets an identical time to Lando Norris. Lando Norris was top at that point, so Russell went to P2. At the end of SQ1, it was Franco Colapinto in 20th place. I believe the first time he has qualified dead last in his F1 career. Zhou Guanyu 19th, Esteban Ocon in 18th, Yuki Tsunoda 17th, and once again, Sergio Perez 16th place, out in SQ1. Of course, questions are being asked about Sergio Perez because questions are always asked about Sergio Perez. This certainly does not help his case. Going into SQ2, we have, once again, an identical lap time. Oscar Piastri was top of the table at this point, but Max Verstappen set an identical time as him, so Verstappen went P2, but not for long, because Piastri's lap time was then deleted for track limits, so Max went top at that point. And as that session came to a close, we had Kevin Magnussen in 15th place. Now, I'm not sure what happened with Magnussen here, but he only had one lap. Something wrong with the Haas at this point. They only had one lap and he was dead last. Lance Stroll in 14th place. Valtteri Bottas in 13th. A fantastic qualifying for Valtteri Bottas. I think Zhou was in a similar place in Las Vegas, but Bottas has showed some great speed here, and hopefully he can turn it into something maybe tomorrow or throughout the rest of the weekend. Alex Albon in the Williams in 12th, and then Fernando Alonso out in SQ2 in 11th place by just a gap of 0.04. So very close for Alonso to get into SQ3, but it didn't happen this time. And then let's talk about SQ3, because it was a bit of a strange session, really, where we saw a mix of strategies. A few cars went out immediately, and you set quite a few prep laps, including Carlos Sainz. I think he had like 3 or 4 prep laps before he went for his actual lap time, including one near the start where him and Verstappen had the world's slowest race, going wheel to wheel on the prep lap to try and get the space there. McLaren, though, instead of having lots of prep laps, they decided to just stay in the pits and then went out, did their lap, and then went back in, and that proved to be going pretty well for them. They were able to get the temperature into their tyres pretty quick. But what we see here is quite a few drivers making mistakes. Now, it's nowhere near as hot as it was last year when we were here. We saw everyone struggling so badly. If anything, we're kind of having the opposite issue where it's a little bit cold. Mix that in with the track being quite dusty and the asphalt not being fantastic, and we're seeing a lot of people getting a lot of curbs, getting a lot of oversteer. There is the gravel traps on the outside of a lot of the corners, so that is affecting them as well, because once that gravel's on the track, that's going to cause an issue time and time again. So quite a few guys making a few mistakes, including Charles Leclerc, who had oversteer on his first quick lap and got up on the curb. That ruined his lap from there. Also, someone who suffered from this was Liam Lawson. Now, Lawson, I think he was about 8th or 9th at the end of the session, but he would end up being 10th because of track limits. His time got deleted. He will start the sprint race from 10th tomorrow. In 9th is Nico Hulkenberg. 8th is Pierre Gasly. Gasly showing great pace yet again. Now, we saw, of course, what happened to him in Las Vegas, where he qualified an incredible third, but then had to retire the car. Apparently, what they were saying in the practice session is the engine blew up because it was going too quick. The Alpine is allergic to speed. That is the official diagnosis from Alpine. So maybe he was trying to go a bit slower this weekend, only qualifying 8th. But then again, Gasly, fantastic to get to that position, especially when Ocon is in 18th. Gasly has unlocked something within that car. Of course, they had the great results in Brazil, but that was kind of a mix of, wet weather and the safety car and red flags, and you go, well, maybe they got a bit lucky there or whatever. But then to put it on P3 in Las Vegas and now 8th here, hopefully he can continue this throughout the weekend and hopefully get some decent points for the team. Lewis Hamilton is in 7th. Max Verstappen is in 6th. Charles Leclerc is 5th and Sainz in 4th. I did expect a little bit better from them, to be honest. From the practice session, I really thought that they got far and away the fastest team here. They seemed to really boss it on all the sets of tyres. Everyone started on the mediums. They looked pretty good from there. They were one of the few teams who tried out the hard tyres, and they looked even faster. Then at the end of the session on the soft, they looked strong as well. But here, they seemed to struggle for some reason, or maybe McLaren were hiding a bit of their pace that they had there. It is the McLaren of Oscar Piastri in P3, just missing out on the front row because George Russell, yet again, a good lap from George Russell, puts him on the front row in P2, and then Lando Norris easily getting P1. As I said with the McLarens, they kind of waited a bit and then went out. Then on their final laps, Norris didn't even complete his. I think he had got a bit of oversteer, touched the gravel trap a little bit, was carrying no speed from there and kind of gave up because he knew it wasn't going to go any faster. Oscar Piastri, though, on his final lap, he was purple in sector 1. It was looking like he was going to steal pole position, but overall lost pace throughout the lap. Maybe he had an oversteer moment as well. So no one's running perfectly here this weekend, which sets up for a very interesting weekend as we go into it. Russell, surprisingly quick, and it makes you wonder, does he have the race pace to back that up? Because, this time last weekend, I was saying I don't think Mercedes have the race pace, but Russell and Hamilton both proved that they did. So will they carry that pace they had in Las Vegas through into this weekend? We'll have to wait and see. I expected so much more from Ferrari, so I hope there's something there, because right now, it is massively advantage McLaren for the Constructors' Championship. I think they need a 1-2 in both races and the fastest lap to clinch the title this weekend. But from this session alone, who's saying they can't do that? They looked so much better than everyone else. So McLaren could win the title this weekend, but they do need things to go perfectly. But it's a near perfect start for them. So we'll see how that goes throughout the rest of the weekend. Let me know how you feel this is going to go. I'll be back for the sprint race tomorrow afternoon. And then if you saw the preview yesterday, I'm a bit all over the place this weekend, but we'll have reactions to everything when they come out. They'll be there. Don't worry. Remember to subscribe. They'll pop up at some point. Who knows? Right, there you go. That is our reactions to the sprint qualifying. It makes for an interesting race tomorrow. If Russell can get ahead of Norris into turn 1, as he has done many times before, most recently in Brazil when they started on the front row together, Norris went down to P2. If Russell can keep Norris behind, then who knows what's going to happen in this race. If Norris can go and get away with it, then I think it could be a pretty straightforward win for him. We'll have to wait and see how it goes down tomorrow. Until then, though, have a good one. I'll see you then. Goodbye.